What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another build video. This is my latest Werewolf build, which is the Firestorm Werewolf, which is a really fun proc build to play. Does a lot of pressure, and it's got really cool animations and stuff. It's just a really good fun build to play. So let's jump straight into the sets. So the first set we're running is a Dragon's Appetite. This will give you a line of weapon and spell damage, 2 lines of recovery, and it will increase your damage done to bleeding enemies by 225. So the 225 is per each hit of anything, any damage source basically. So 225 isn't a lot, but when you're hitting with a lot of stacks of something or dots, that's going to obviously do a lot of damage and add up very, very fast. And the bleeding damage is done by the werewolf, so it goes hand in hand there. And when you deal non-bleed damage, which you'll be doing a lot of, you'll gain the 10 stacks of Dragon's Appetite, which will heal you for a pretty good number of nearly 11k health. I'm running a ice staff. I don't think the weapon traits carry over, so any weapon, to be honest, as long as it's defending. And I've got a Crusher enchantment, which will reduce the target's physical and spell resistance by 1600 for 5 seconds. And I'll explain further into the video why I've got this on. The next set we are running is Dominus, which gives you 2 lines, gives you a line of stamina and a line of magicka, so it's going to give you extra stats, so it's very, very nice. And when you deal damage, so it procs all the time, you create a 10-meter ring of molten earth around you for 10 seconds, which deals 380 flame damage and 422 physical damage every second. And standing in the ring also grants you 300 weapon and spell damage. So I thought this would be a really good set to put on. So the Dragon's Appetite is going to add to the flame and physical damage every second, so it's going to do a lot of pressure. Also, the ring itself is a very large ring as well. It's not a small ring, so it's quite a big radius. It's probably about as big as Hurricane, maybe a little bit bigger. So it's a really, really nice monster set. All the body pieces are medium. And the next set we're running is Reliquin. Reliquin is another really good set. If you're doing a lot of light and heavy attacks, it's going to apply stacks of harmful winds to your target, again dealing 243 physical damage per stack every second. So the Dragon's Appetite is going to buff this, and the effect scales off your weapon and spell damage. So they've got the Dominus Arm Corpse there, and the rest is Reliquin there. So it's all medium. Regarding trait wise, I would probably recommend to have, I don't really have the correct traits, to be honest. I would have reinforced on the large pieces, which is the head, chest and legs have reinforced, and probably all the rest to have impenetrable. It's probably the ideal traits. And with regards to the enchantments, again, I would probably I've just got a bit of a mixture, bit of magicka and stamina, but I would probably recommend again to try stat all of the body pieces if you can, because that's probably going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. And the jewellery is 3 pieces of Dragon's Appetite. I've got 1 for recovery magicka. They're all infused, and the other 2 are weapon damage. So Dragon's Appetite is a crafted set, so it's very, very easy to obtain. You can just make it yourself or get someone else to make it for you. So like I said, the Dragon's Appetite is going to buff the Reliquin damage, and it's also going to buff the Dominus damage, and it's going to buff everything basically by 225. So that's very, very nice there. You also get quite a lot of recovery and spell damage with the set, so it's a very strong set, and on top of it, it gives you a nice burst heal after the 10 stacks. So it's a very, very nice combination. But like I said, with the ice staff, I think you can use any weapon. I don't think it matters too much, but I've got defending just to boost them resistances up a bit. And the Reliquin comes from the Cloudrest trial. You can just do it on normal. I think I've got the normal version. It doesn't really matter too much. And the Dominus, I think, is from Not Bloodroot Forge, it's the other one, I forget the name, Falkreath it might be, I forget the name now. It's an underused monster set, so I've tried to use sets that are sort of not as used as much, particularly on a werewolf, and I found it to be very, very fun and very, very effective. Let's go into the character sheet. So we've got 64 points into health. We're running food wise, you can sort of go between Bewitched Sugar Skulls. If you want a bit more sustain, just run Jewels of Misrule or Smoked Bear Haunch. It's up to you. So if you want more sustain, I tend to do a lot of heavy attacks, so I'm okay with Bewitched Sugar Skulls, and I like the extra stats on all the bars. But again, if you want to have more recoveries, then just go with the Jewels of Misrule or the Smoked Bear Haunch. The Mundus is the lady. And so these are just these stats completely flat. Don't worry about the penetration as well. Like I said, the spell and weapon damage does stack up to about 7k. So the spell and weapon damage is really nice. And the health will go up to about 34k. So that's really, really good. And like I said, the recoveries at this moment with this food on, the stamina recovery will hit about 1500. And the magic recovery is about 1100. But again, like I said, if you want a bit more to get nearly to like the 2k mark, just change the food. It's a simple enough change. It's just your play style. Are you heavy attacking a lot? If you're not, then just change the food. So we'll go into the skills. I don't really have too much. You can just put what you want on the skills, to be honest. I've just got Hurricane and Crystal Frags. These are just obviously because these won't carry over, so just sort of put on what you wish just till you're in that werewolf form. And I'll go into the werewolf skills, which is the more important skills. So I'm running Pack Leader. I think Pack Leader is the best one, as it's going to give you the minor courage, which is very, very nice. You do get that from the Oaken Soul Ring, but we don't have that on. It's going to increase your max stamina by 30%, and you're going to take 10% less damage, and you're also going to get more stamina recovery. So when you go in werewolf form, you're going to get more recoveries anyway. We've got the Brutal Pounce, which will apply bleed damage and apply the hemorrhaging status effects. And this, if you keep hitting them with this, it's going to stack your weapon and spell damage. It also causes them to bleed over 10 seconds, so it's a really, really nice skill. It's a nice gap closer as well. The Hikrin's Rage, and that's your heal basically. And if you're at full health, it's going to restore stamina and gain Major Berserk. But you do take 5% more damage, but it's worth it because you're going to get the you also get the Major Brutality and Sorcery, but you also get the Major Berserk, which is too good to pass up. And I said that's your burst heal. Your Deafening Roar is going to knock enemies off balance, and it's going to apply that Major Breach and Minor Maim. So that's very, very nice there. It's also going to give you your Major Savagery and Prophecy. The Howl of Agony is your sort of spammable. It deals a lot of physical damage. If they're feared or facing you, you're going to take 25% more damage from this attack. And your Claws of Anguish is a disease attack, and it also deals disease damage over time, and it also afflicts them with major defile, so it's going to make them harder to heal themselves, and any damage shields are going to be reduced as well. Champion points. The green CP is pretty much up to you, but if you're running an expensive food, I would definitely recommend Rationer and Liquid Efficiency, just to reduce your potions, because obviously the potions and the food can be a bit on the expensive side. Run Steed's Blessing for your movement speed bonus. They're just sort of the essentials. And with the blue CP, we've got Force of Nature to increase your offensive penetration by 660 for every status effect your target has. So that's going to give you, on average, you're probably going to have 3, 4, 5 status effects. So that's going to give you, about 3 or 4k pen. We've got Master Arms for more direct damage, Deadly Aim for more direct damage or single target damage, and Resilience just for a bit of critical resistance. But again, if you put more Impenetrable on the body pieces, you could swap that out for, say, Duelist Rebuff for damage reduction. The red CP, I've just got Boundless Vitality for health, fortified for armour, Pain's Refuge just to reduce your damage taken for every 2 negative effects you have on you, up to a maximum of 20%, so that's very, very good. I've got refreshing stride, so when you're sprinting, you're going to gain some health and magicka recovery. But again, really, you can sort of put on whatever you wish. And you can go rejuvenation just for a bit more recovery across the board. So we'll show you like how it's sort of all played. So if we just go into werewolf form, you can see the health is at 34k. Physical and spell is at 25k, so it's not super high. Your resistances, your critical resistance is at 2k, but like I said, if you put the impenetrable and reinforced, you'll probably get them about 27k physical and spell resist, and you know, you'll probably get about 2.5k critical resistance. So you can improve on this build from what I've done. It's just the traits, I didn't have the correct traits. Like I said, the weapon and spell damage, yeah, will hit about 7k. The weapon criticals at 30% is very, very nice. I said the magicka and stamina pools are fairly large, but I said if you do drop to the Jewels of Misrule, they will drop off a little bit, but again, you're going to have better recovery, so I think it's totally fine there. And as regards to the penetration, so we'll go into the physical, because again, it's only 700, which looks very, very low. But when you're doing werewolf attacks, so the Howl is going to give you the major breach. The Howl of, let's quickly check. The Howl of Agony is going to give you the minor breach, and the Deafening Roar is going to give you major breach, so that's 9k there, plus the nearly 1k you've got there, so that's you're nearly at 10k penetration. And then we've got the Crusher enchant on as well, so you're at probably about 11-12k pen, plus the status effects. So you can see the status effects above the target dummy here. So you do apply quite a lot of status effects. And as you can see, like I said, you're probably going to get another 3, maybe 4k penetration from the champion points, which is the one I've just applied, which is Force of Nature. So you're going to be around like the 13-14k sort of mark of pen, even though there's nothing on the stat sheet, so you're totally fine. So don't worry about the penetration. With all the debuffs applied, you're going to be totally fine. And like I said, you can't really see the Dominus, well, you can see it, the effect there, that's the rumbling, because it's such a large AoE, so you're going to get constant. And what you want to do is just a lot of light attacks, heavy attacks, you know, chucking in those howls. You know, you want to, you know, how you want to first engage is you want to press the Y for your major berserk. You want to jump in with X, and then you want to just sort of spam your howls, Deafening Roar, drop on the Claws of Anguish just to get that disease, and you're going to get a lot of ticks of damage. And like I said, and just keep chucking in light attacks and heavy attacks in between your skills. And like I said, you're going to get a lot of numbers. You're going to get a lot of dots hitting the target. Like I said, and the Dragon's Appetite is going to buff every individual number that is hitting. So it's good. Like I said, they're going to take flame damage, they're going to take blade damage, they're going to take physical damage. They're going to take a lot of damage, especially if they're standing in that ring. It's quite a large ring as well to get out of, so they really have to move out the way to even get out of the damage. So you can put a lot of pressure on this build. But again, the one thing I would say is this werewolf build isn't super tanky, so get used to doing a couple of dodge rolls. You know, any direct damage attacks are going to really bite into you. So you just need to be mindful of where you're standing, and just when to put the pressure on, when not to put the pressure on, because, you know, this isn't the tankiest of werewolf setups, because you are just sort of pushing for dot damage. And it does work very well. Just be careful that when to dodge roll, you know, dodge the Dawnbreakers and stuff, dodge the Wrecking Blows, and don't get hit by bonks, you know, that sort of thing. Because like I said, the armor isn't super high, but like I said, you might have more success, like I said, if you put more reinforced on and more critical resistance. Like, I think it's because I didn't have the correct traits. as I said earlier in the video, I've just got divines and infused. I think you're better off with reinforced and impenetrable, and it's probably going to be a little bit more tankier. But like I said, when you're putting so much stacks of pressure on people with the Reliquin and the Dominus, it's really going to, it does really stack up quite well. And I said, the more you keep light attacking, heavy attacking, it's going to keep applying more and more Reliquin. And like I said, the Dragon's Appetite will give you a burst heal at 10 stacks, which is really, really nice there. So yeah, that's pretty much the build fully explained. It's a lot of fun. I like the proc animations of Dominus, and that, like I said, the radius is quite large on it. It doesn't actually say, I don't think, how large the radius is, but it's doing 2 types of damage every second, and it's buffing your weapon and spell damage. It just goes hand in hand with the Reliquin and the Dragon's Appetite. Yeah. So yeah, that's the end of the build video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, the Firestorm Werewolf. Drop this video a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you've got any comments, drop them in the comment section below, and I will leave you with the gameplay clips. And stay tuned for the next video.